It was just a few months ago when two suspects allegedly gunned down two Utah County Sheriff's deputies, killing Sergeant Corey Ride. They then led officers on a chase through Utah and Juab counties, injuring another police officer. And there was another victim in all the midst of this drama. Right, Mike?
Yeah, Dave, her name is Chetney Williams. She was barely able to pull her 4-year-old daughter from the back seat before the suspects hijacked her SUV at gunpoint. Now, Chetney thought that she could get a little bit of help from the state. So why is a fund designed to help victims of crime not helping her with what she needs the most?
Looks like the suspect hit the spike strip.
It is a day
Before they won't stop.
likely seared in the minds of all involved.
These guys might be the ones involved in that shooting in Utah County.
A sheriff's sergeant shot and killed, a deputy with a bullet to his head, and the hunt for a gunman ultimately ending in his demise. But in the wake of the chaos,
No hostages in the vehicle.
She was just waving her arms for me to stop.
the lives of a mother and her baby daughter
I looked up and noticed him coming at me with the gun.
were remarkably spared.
He was waving it at me to get out of the car, and he kept telling me, get out, get out.
Chetney Williams will never forget that moment. The moment Jose Garcia pointed a gun at her chest. The moment she rushed to pull her baby from the back seat. And the moment she fell to the side of the road and realized what could have been.
If he would have shot me in front of her, or if he would have took off with her, it all just hit me all at once and I went into shock. Oh, he did it.
Williams was now safe. The threat was now gone. And the furthest thing from her mind
They're going southbound on the northbound side.
was her SUV, now at the center of a high-speed chase. The alleged killer and his girlfriend racing down I-15.
Male subject has been shot.
Crashing the vehicle, Garcia eventually gunned down by police. And while grateful to be alive,
Weeks, now months have passed and still no help.
Williams no longer has reliable transportation.
We had to put a quart of oil just to get to town and back.
Her SUV being held as evidence in the ongoing investigation. It is a major problem when you live in rural Utah, are 8 months pregnant, and 60 miles from your doctor.
Go.
I've been in and out of the emergency room. My blood pressure has been crazy ever since it happened, and being pregnant has not been easy.
Williams was approached by Juab County and told about the Utah Office for Victims of Crime. In short, they help with the personal finances for victims who have suffered financial loss, physical injuries, and emotional trauma, all as a result of a violent crime. But after applying, Williams says
there's a push to find a way to say yes.
She was hearing a lot of no's.
It's probably dicing words, but the real intent of this program is to help the person recover mind and body.
Gary Scheller is director of the office and says this year alone, the state agency will likely dish out $8 million to more than 5,000 violent crime victims. That is a lot of people getting a lot of help for things like medical expenses, lost wages, and counseling. But when it comes to personal property,
wheelchairs, wheelchair ramps,
they will not pay for the replacement,
an exterior door or window that's been broken,
unless it's essential to the health and safety of a victim's recovery. Replacement cars, no matter the price, are not on that list. When I think of the word essential personal property,
right,
a car seems pretty essential.
It does, and the added language there is that it's essential to the health and safety.
To better understand what is essential to the health and safety of a crime victim, in 2013, the office paid out $42,000 for things like locks and windows, prosthetics and phones, home security systems, a wristband, a shower head, a mattress, media wires, a mailbox, and denture cream. As for a cheap used car,
There you go.
well, that's never made the list. But if you ask this pregnant mother of a 4-year-old just how essential her SUV was to the health and safety of her family,
I just need something dependable to survive.
she believes living without it has proven her point.
Watching it drive away, it didn't matter. But then trying to recover from everything that happened and move forward, you can't.
Now, even though the Crime Victims Fund was not able to help Chetney into a car, it did pay her about $350 towards lost wages, travel, and a new phone. Now, another thing to mention here, she did have car insurance, but the money that she got was only enough to pay off a loan that she had just taken out for a new engine for that vehicle. So, now to the good news.
Good.
Dave and Deanie to
Please.
this one. All right, the response to this story has been incredible. We received dozens of comments on Facebook. We've gotten calls, we've gotten emails, you name it. People have been responding to this. They're offering not only money, but cars. We've even had someone said, hey, you know what, I'll go down there and I'll take her to wherever she needs to go so that she can get around.
Great.
So we are happy to report, though, an anonymous donor heard that we were working on this story. They were able to get Chetney into a reliable car, and she's extremely grateful for it. So
that's good.
Anyway, great ending to that story.
Yeah, I'll say.
When asked to help somebody in need, Utahns always seem to answer the call, don't they? Well, a couple of months ago, a Provo man decided to raise some money for a local street vendor who's caring for her sick husband. So, to reach the greatest number of people, he set up an account on a fundraising website. It's called GoFundMe.com. Well, in 2 months, he's raised about $20,000. But as KSL investigates, that money has been tough to find. 76 years old, on the side of the road and selling tamales. For Consuelo Sanchez, it is a humble living, $1.35 a pop. While business seems pretty good, a chunk of that money is sent to Mexico to help out family members. So one of her customers found a way to do more.
People with good hearts give her the money, and then she's going to be able to use it for her own good.
A complete stranger, Tracy Salazar, decided to collect donations on a website called GoFundMe.com. Back in January, the goal was $5,000. Well, 2 months later, nearly 800 people combined their cash, raising more than $19,000. There's just one question.
The money, have you gotten the money?
Que si me dieron dinero? No.
No.
No, nada.
It appears Consuelo has not seen a dime of it.
I think it's frustrating that they haven't followed through with it.
Kylie Patterson is just one of hundreds who has donated to help out, and she's not the only one.
People are very bitter.
Wondering where that money went. 135 comments on the GoFundMe website, and the most recent post calling it a scam, a fraud, even begging people not to donate.
You're assuming in good faith that they're going to do what they say they're going to do with it.
We don't want to paint him as a criminal.
Provo police have been investigating the situation for several weeks now. They've talked to Salazar and said if he does not hand over the charity money soon, there will be consequences.
If that money doesn't make it to her and he's used it for his own gain, that's communications fraud, and we will go after him.
Do you have the money right now?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Unwilling to go on camera, Salazar explained over the phone why Consuelo has yet to see the money. Part of the holdup, he wanted to create a trust fund, so Consuelo did not send all of the money to her family in Mexico. He's taken a lot of heat for that.
Do you care what she does with the money?
At this point, I don't, but at the beginning I did because, it was my money too. We don't want that money to sit with her because in the end, she's really old and she needs the money.
No, she's an adult. She can make that decision on her own.
Unfortunately for Kylie and the other 797 donors, their donations are at the mercy of this one man. And while he says Consuelo will get the money promised,
I almost wish I would have just taken her the $20 and said, here, I want you to have this.
Some people with big hearts have already been soured by the process. All right, so the big question, where is that money right now? Well, late tonight, Provo police say Mr. Salazar finally handed over the donated money to Consuelo. Police recommend, though, when making donations on these fundraising websites, it's very wise to do your homework and learn about the person who sets up the account. In fact, you should know as much about him as possible. Salazar says he's in the middle of raising money, actually, for somebody else in need, but the donations at this point have been slow. You can understand why. I think his heart was in the good place, but it was just tough for him. He had obstacles to get that money to her. Dave, over to you.
Well, she's got the money tonight. That's good news.
All right, we're smack dab in the middle of tax season. Yay! And while there are a million reasons to procrastinate the filing of those taxes, we got one reason you may want to hurry and get it done. It has become a race. It's you against everyone else who's trying to steal your identity. And the winner gets the cash. Schedules and forms, exemptions, deductions, there's a very good reason. A, we either pay someone to do our own taxes, or B, we plug a bunch of numbers into a computer program to figure it out. But even that's no guarantee.
And I didn't even know that this was such a huge problem.
That the money you're expecting back,
there's little risk, it's fast,
will actually make it into your bank account. Just ask Lauren Walters.
And I got this email from TurboTax saying that
who just found out her taxes had already been filed. The problem,
and I thought, well, that's kind of weird because I haven't done my taxes.
Somebody beat her to the punch. Lauren's name and social security number were somehow stolen. And that's all it took for the bogus Lauren Walters to file a bogus 1040 through TurboTax, a $5,600 return.
Here we are paying out our, tax money to some criminal.
Now going to an anonymous thief.
Usually the first person who files a tax return gets, if you will, the most attention.
And by attention, he means money. Chad Cutting works the IRS Criminal Investigation Unit here in Salt Lake and says tax fraud through identity theft is one of the biggest challenges they face.
They're not using guns, they're not using knives to steal from people, but they're taking advantage of the government system with taxes.
A 2011 audit by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration revealed 1.1 million tax returns were filed using false Social Security numbers. Those returns went undetected by the IRS, costing taxpayers $3.6 billion. That's a lot of money. And the schemes to get that money are getting bigger and bigger. In Florida, gang members were arrested after police uncovered an operation involving hundreds of false tax refunds, raking in nearly $2 million. A flash drive of one of the gang members revealing the names, birth dates, and Social Security numbers of more than 2,000 people, all of them potential victims.
There's a bunch of information that doesn't quite make sense.
Like the real Lauren Walters. Within hours of the fraudulent filing, she and her boyfriend Jason say that they called TurboTax, the IRS, the FTC, Salt Lake Police, the Attorney General's office, the Social Security Administration, and what they kept hearing was,
we can't prove that this isn't you and that this is fraud activity.
She says even a quick look at previous returns would have shown a bulk of the information on the 1040 was not accurate.
Case in point, the fake Lauren Walters is a former construction worker, who, by the way, is also making deductions as a school teacher, who is clearly making the wrong amount of money, even thought her name was a man's and had her married to a woman. And finally, it also listed her current occupation as a bus driver.
Every bit of it false.
Looking at the tax return.
They believe a simple verification by the IRS before accepting a return and sending out that money would save taxpayers billions of dollars. Unfortunately, that simple verification would take time. And as long as the general public wants their taxes done in Turbo,
it's a tough balance, and the IRS is still working on it.
By the time the IRS catches the crime, it will often be too late.
All right, now the IRS says a typical case for a taxpayer whose identity is stolen takes about 180 days to resolve the whole thing. And this year, the IRS has more than 3,000 employees working on identity theft cases, which is actually double the number that they had last year. For more information on how to protect yourself, we've got a list of the IRS's dirty dozen tax scams on our website. That, of course, is ksl.com.
Man, that's maddening. It's you didn't realize it's such a race against more than time.
It is, and once somebody gets your Social Security number, again, to no fault of your own, you're in trouble.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the eye-opener.
Yep.